What up, y'all? We are back and we are live. You already know it's the OG PTPOD show. Guys, thank you so much for coming back, pod people. If this is your first time, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're one of my old school folks, thank you so much for coming back. I am dang excited. I'm freaking excited, y'all. I don't get this excited for every show. You know, we've had a lot of great guests. Some true UFC fighters and stuff, but this guy is different. As you know, a couple weeks ago, I was lucky enough to be able to interview a slap fighter, successful in his own right. However, as you know, I'm really into the slap fights, and I have a couple of other shows we work and talk a lot about it. And this is our interview show here. But I have not only a slap fighter, but a slap fight champion, a multi-defending champion. He got all the belts. He rolls everywhere with 2 belts. That's how awesome he is. More importantly, he's also a kendama master and a down-to-earth, awesome dude. I am genuinely excited, and it is my privilege and honor, ladies and gentlemen, to bring this man to the stage. Your favorite slap fighter's favorite slap fighter, pound for pound, the best slap fighter on the face of the planet. Give it up for Anthony Babyface Blackburn. What up, dog?
Man, how's it going? It's going good, man.
I'm stoked to finally get you on the show. It's funny because we try very hard on the Power Slap Time show and just overall to be what do you call non-biased, basically. That way, if we want to say your match sucked and you did not look on, and for whatever reason your head wasn't in it, you're not mad, and it's not like, oh, well, it's a friend and we don't want to talk shit about a friend. We want to be able to be the true voice of the fans, right? However, you are that dude, and it's impossible not to freaking love you. You're the Karate Kid. You know what I'm saying? You're the Karate Kid, dog.
It was, like a really monumental moment in my career, having a night like that. And Azael just messaged me a little bit ago, and he said, I had an off night, I couldn't snap out of it. It wasn't my night. And stuff like that does happen in this kind of sport and in all kinds of sports. Some people do have not their best night, and some people do have a better night, and I definitely had a better night that night.
Absolutely. And that night was amazing, don't get me wrong, and one of the best, one of the best fights ever. However, if we can go back, excuse me, and step back a little bit, your fight before that was the best fight that we'd ever seen in Power Slap. So, I mean, we were actually legitimately arguing about that on the show the other night on, was this the best match Power Slap ever had, or was your last match the best match the Power Slap ever had? So, and I was like, I'm gonna have to literally go back and watch the match with homie. So, because we just watched El Perro. So, what's his name? Manny. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that but I'll say more than anything. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's on Rumble and YouTube. Check it out. That was the first time that it made all the slap, and we watched different promotions. That was the first time you made it look like a real sport. You separated it. You were the first up out of prelims that night, and top of the card. And you guys came out and you made us all realize, oh shit, this is a sport. These guys train, they diet, they focus. They live their life. They do media. They talk to stupid people like me. You know what I mean? You do all of this. You sacrifice. I know right now people follow you on your Insta. You're hanging with family and you're taking time to do this. So thank you. But I will say, and then before that, when you first won the belt, man, you know what I mean? Right about a year ago, you know what I mean? And you didn't even expect to, as you said in the speech, you're like, I didn't even expect this. That was an amazing match too. That one was just bow. So can you explain, do you have a reason, or do you think you have an understanding of why you just put on these amazing damn matches?
I want to say it was, the matches with Manny, it was determination. It was grit. It was, nobody's going to knock me out for sure. And I'm going to do my darndest to try and hit him as hard as I can. And I feel like I hit another level in this training camp with my coach. We hit another understanding of our level as opposed to other people in the sport, especially when it comes to, just the neck training. I really want to emphasize that, if there is anything to really, really protect your brain in this sport, I want to say it would be training your neck, because that's what's mitigating all that vibration and energy. You're absorbing it with your neck.
Mm-hmm.
So I really focused this camp and really trained hard and upgraded my training.
I think it was the wise scholar Jizza or Rizza from the Elder Wu-Tang Clan that said, protect your neck. So, yes, I completely understand. You know what I mean? Protect your neck. But I love that, man. Now we got to get Babyface shirts that say protect your neck on them. That would be gangster. Maybe a Wu-Tang throwback. That would be awesome. So, and sticking with the fun, everybody that hit me up that knew I was talking to you, of course, you know what everybody's asking. Who does he want? Get him to call a guy out. But wait, dog. You know what? I know there's a lot of cats, and I know you pretty much could slap anybody you want into next week. No worries. Here's what I want for you, though. Personally, I want that money match. I'm talking Jake Paul. I'm talking Logan Paul.
I know exactly who I would say for that one, too. I was almost ready to say it on. I was almost. I loaded it, cocked it.
Who?
Nate Diaz.
Yes, we talked about that too. That was Superfan and Vern. You know Cardman Vern. Anyway, yeah. Superfan and Vern were like, yes, and I was like, yeah, actually, yeah, man, because I want you to have a prize fight. You deserve what? Okay, so what you've done for the fans of Power Slap, for people who aren't fans, is worth so much, and what you brought to the sport in dollars and cents, you deserve that big money prize fight. You deserve somebody that is going to elevate your name. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude. And are you down? Have you talked to the Diaz camp? Is anybody working on that yet?
That would be crazy.
You have management now. You call that's what your management is paid for, bro. You call them and tell them they get a bigger percentage of a fight versus Nate Diaz versus another slap fight guy.
That's a money fight for everybody. For sure, they'd be on top of that. And, that's something that I have never thought about before that last match. Like I would have never thought to really want to call somebody out like that, but I really almost said Nate Diaz on stage on that Friday night. I stayed in the league, as I said Cole Young, because I really want to get that draw to where it's, there's no question as to, what was up with that draw? I want to mitigate any question as to why there's any blemish on my record, really.
Yeah, but I mean, and fair, but I mean, we know who. Look, we know. Okay, man. Look, we just know. You know what I'm saying? It's like Michael Jordan had some losses when he was in college. You know what I mean? He's not like, I need to go back on my North Carolina team. You know what I mean? And beat Gonzaga. It's you move on, and you're at a higher level, in my opinion.
No, that's crazy though.
So yeah,
that's crazy. The just in this one match, how, and I was already on a good level and a good rise up, but that match last week just catapulted me up really high. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm trying to really still process it. It's still a lot, and like you said, wake up every day and your phone's blown up, and it's cool, but still at the same time, I want to stay humble, and I'm still gonna, I still got goals and aspirations in this sport, and I'm still ready to get after it, and I'm still ready to space myself from the rest. So if you think I'm going to take it easy and and I'm gonna be busy, but I'm gonna be busy and I'm gonna be losing sleep, but I ain't gonna be losing gym time. You heard me. I'm still gonna be in the gym.
And that brings me to something I think you're doing that's really cool, and probably I would really assume helps you as a slap fighter. I know like holding pads helps you as a kickboxing training is what I've done, but holding pads makes you better because you're looking at it from the other side now. And I know you're training now. You're coaching for Power Slap 14 coming up. You're going to be an official coach. Is that correct?
Yeah. New Orleans is gonna be amazing.
Let's go.
So, dude, it's great you say that too. Holding, I don't have it with me, but my training head, holding that for, we took it out on the strip Power Slap 10.
Yeah.
And 12, I'm sorry. At Power Slap 12, we took it out on the strip and we were filming content and had random people, ladies hitting it, cops, bodybuilders, UFC fighters. It was really cool. We had hundreds of people hit this thing, and I held it most of the time because it's mine, and I didn't want anyone to have the responsibility to like beating it up too bad to where you couldn't use it anymore because it was getting kind of worn out. and they were not manufacturing them right now. They just manufactured, I think, 5 today. I bought one, so
of course, yeah,
they're probably sold out already. Don't even bother going to Rev Gear and looking. I'm just saying, if you want a good,
I bought 6. I don't know.
If you want the best training tool on the market, that's one of them. It's only $100.
Worth it. So, didn't you get a performance bonus of the night?
I did. Yeah, as soon as my my drug test clears, we'll be getting that direct deposit set up.
Awesome. So the next question is Taco Bell on you next time we kick it. Is that correct as well?
Taco Bell, brother, we could do better than Taco Bell. I don't know the last time I had it actually.
Taco Bell. It's just a late night fun snack. No, I'm a super fan. Shout out, by the way, Don is in the chat. Super fan in the chat. The big homie. This show doesn't go off without him. Thank you, brother, for joining in. DK Fitness in the chat. Licha Fop in the chat. And that's just over on one Instagram. On the other Instagram, Johnny Magna is in the building, and he's calling you a legend and a Hall of Famer. So he's not wrong. You know what I mean? We got Amy in the chat throwing the pew-pews. We got all the people in the chat. So we got Vern in the chat. Shout out, Vern. So, the whole crew is loving you right now, man. Talk to me about your coaching. Do you know who your other coach is going to be that you're coaching against? Yeah,
the legend Wolverine. So,
yeah, he's going to be Wolverine. Ah! Well, that's going to be badass, dude. That is going to be a hell because both of you are that next level. This is your life. As far as your career, you have a life out, but your career is this, and so it's going to be mean to watch you guys. Wow. Are you nervous? Are you nervous at all?
I'm kind of nervous for how the experience is going to be. It's going to be obviously a pretty intense and overwhelming at first, I believe. Mm-hmm. But as I get a few matches under my belt and, get the nerves calmed down and realize that, hey, I'm there for these fighters. It's not for me. I got to help them more than anything. It's not for me. I'm there for them, guys. And girls. So once I really get the nerves calm and settle into my own, I think I'm going to be, a force to be reckoned with on that side as well.
Yeah. And I think just the joy, the understanding you bring to it, and then the joy, man, the fact that and maybe I'm wrong, but you legitimately seem like you're having a good time. You know what I mean? Even except for that 1 second where it's connecting, where no one can be really having a good time. But other than that, the whole experience, from your training, and that's something I wanted to touch on too, is that you mentioned your coach. The fact you even have a coach, a lot of people, it goes over their head. They don't take this that seriously. And a lot of times, man, we see a lot of cats on the internet complaining about this or that. But I would love to ask them, who's your coach and how much time are you spending in the gym to become better? And once you can answer those questions solid, then we can address your other issues, my friend. But regardless of all of that, man, tell me about your coach and the decision to work with the coach yourself and how you think that's going to help you in the next in 14.
Yeah. My coach's name, James Isham. He also coaches Brandon Bordeaux. He lives in my hometown that I grew up in Wyandotte. We both went to school together, played sports together, middle school, high school, you know, had classes, gym classes, all kinds of stuff. We spent a lot of time together growing up. And after school, after high school, after we graduated, he got right into, he always trained, he's got into mixed martial arts kind of young, and he trained on his own by himself a lot. So he's kind of, in his own way, in that sense, where he stayed by himself a lot of that time and did his own thing. He was constantly training, constantly putting the reps in, and he ended up opening up a gym and a training center in his garage and out of his own home, and had people coming in from school that he worked at and coached at, and had certain kids and parents and whatnot just be able to show up for a session, hour and a half, and get it in whenever you can. And he would write down programs for everybody, and he's constantly studied the game for years and years and years. Tons of experience with the body. If there's anything that's hurting you during a workout, or you can explain what happened during some kind of pain or twinge, he can pretty much pinpoint it and let you know a different kind of workout to get around it for the day, or maybe we just leave that kind of body part alone for the day. Just having the experience overall, just the years that he's put in. And after I called him after Power Slap 1, and I said, hey man, I want to take this serious, and I really think that we could do good if, me and you put our minds together and really give it 100%. I think we got a shot at this. So, fast forward now, we're 2.5 years later, and, dreams come true, baby.
This seems to be working out. All signs point to yes. You know what I mean? That's awesome. And I love that, because you said he spent a lot of time by himself doing it. And anybody who spent any real time training doing it's like, oh, you've gone to the dark place inside of you. And that's something that only people who train, that when everything is screaming you don't have to go to the gym. You can stay in bed, man. You can have a soda. You don't have to hurt yourself for the 10th day in a row or whatever. But you do. And you get that discipline, and you're able to go to that place mentally. That's somebody you can trust, because he understands what that is, and he's made friends with that place. So I think that's awesome, man. Actually,
and it's just the same thing I told Charlie too, is, he's a student of the game. He watches more film than anyone I know. And, you might think you watch Power Slap. He's watching 2 times that. I promise you.
Yeah. Well, and it's so much more that he sees too, right? It's like watching something, like being in production. And I joke around all the time about, like, if you're watching a reality show, and I'm like, people have no idea that for every person you're seeing, there's 2 people, and on a Survivor show, because they've got their, and because each group has their own little camera person and sound person, and then sometimes unit producer. And people have no idea, like I was joking around with Bird yesterday. We're talking about the big snakes in Florida that you can hunt, right? Down in Florida, you can hunt pythons and get like $20 per. You don't need a license. It's just because they're an invasive species. And, we were talking about how people don't understand the guy's wrestling a python and he's about to die. And there's a cameraman right there. You're watching it because somebody's filming it. So anyway, yeah, what it is. Well, speaking of, the mental discipline and the darkness and stuff, you've mentioned before publicly that coming into 13, you were kind of in maybe a darker place or a mentally down place. And I thought it was really important. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, because a lot of folks look at you and they're like, how could that guy ever be down? You know what I mean? He's got the support of the world. He's a world champion in his sport. You know what I mean? He probably could holler at any lady he wanted. He, can probably go to dinner at a million different places and people will pick up the check. If he's feeling down, he can jump on his Instagram and be like, feeling a little low today. 1,000 people will tell him he's the man. and I'm a janitor, you know what I mean? Or I'm a roofer, or, you know what I mean? I'm a cook, and, you know, I don't have that kind of love. How, you know, so I want everybody to know that it, you know, it's okay to feel that way because it can affect us all. And I also, you know, maybe want to understand, you know, why do you feel like you were in that place?
I feel like I was in that place. I was just feeling really down, and I was sad, and it was a lot of uncertainty because I had, you know, made a decision to sign with Full Scope, and I really didn't know that, you know, that was going to be the best decision for me because I've seen other people sign with other managers, and nothing's going on for them either. And I don't know what's going to happen if I did sign. So it was just, you know, that leap of faith and having uncertainty was scary, right? And I definitely, I wasn't nervous with the match with Azael, but I was just, you know, in my feels for sure.
And let me ask, have you dealt with that in the past? Just as a human going through life, Anthony, the dude, you know, have you struggled with that in the past?
Yeah, oh yeah. And you know, it has stemmed with drinking at times when I don't have the control of it. And for me, I just, you know, a lot of these years in my life I've been, you know, I moved down to Charleston. I was by myself. You know, I had my little brother down there, but you know, it was basically my coworkers and the few friends that I made. But I didn't have any, you know, family down there. So it ended up to where I didn't have a good support system where I could really get on my feet well and be able to make it down there. I was kind of just dragging along and surviving. And that's a big deal when someone is just surviving. It's a lot different than, you know, living. You gotta have a there's a difference, and really striving towards living is something that I'm, you know, trekking right now, you know, hard.
You're
So
killing it. Killing it.
it's just, you know, in it I'm really I've been talking to a lot of my friends since I got back because I did open up a lot this past week, and I really think that men especially need to be more vulnerable and definitely be more open, talk more, talk about your feelings more, be more emotional. You know, don't keep it in anymore because that's when bad things happen, and I'm learning that now as I open up more and be more open, especially you know, on national TV like that. To me that really it meant a lot to be able to say that, you know, that I was feeling down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just that's the beginning. You know, that's where it starts, and that's where you have to begin. Yeah, and then that's where a lot of things start with. You know, if you have problems with anything, you just have to admit that problem's there first. You know.
Well, man, you are the canary in the coal mine for us. You're the guy that a lot of us need. And, you know, not to blow smoke or glaze, but it takes somebody who can stand up there and take slaps to the face the way you do. A lot of them. You take a lot, right? But to be able to do that and to be able to come out and go, I was feeling this way. I don't have to put on a front like I'm just Mr. Badass Slap Dude and nothing ever affects me and I just kill people and then, you know, be cool. Which is pretty cool. You're that most of the time, but you can express how you're feeling to us, and it's like, oh man, we can talk about that then. You know what I mean? If this dude can talk about that with the strength he has, then we can talk about that. You know what I mean? And even to the point of you, you know, for those that don't know, just to kind of, you know, go over it, you weren't a professional MMA fighter or pro wrestler or boxer or kickboxer like a lot of guys that you actually fight. You weren't a professional fighter or aiming to be one when you got into this. Power slap is your first real experience in combat sports, right?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that you're doing so well and so committed and being so open and honest with us, I think that that's the important part, man. So, and when you do get down, what do you feel helps you? And this is for, everybody listening. Like, what would you recommend? One of my favorite sayings is, remember, you're your own best friend. And something cool about you, I didn't know till just now, that you traveled across the country, halfway across the country, to start a new life. I lived in Hawaii for almost 20 years from Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Had to, and LA and Dallas, but so I get that, man, and it's hard. And everybody you build that new family. So one of my favorite things is, remember, treat yourself like you're your own best friend, right? If you were in a bad time, if you were really mad or you were really emotional over something, if you're looking at yourself sitting there, what would you say to yourself to make yourself feel better or do better? And so what would you encourage others, how are you your own best friend, and how would you encourage others to do that too?
You got to be honest with yourself. You really have to be, a critic at the same time. Or if it's not just you, have somebody that is critical of you. Have someone that sees you and sees the actual potential and knows it's in you and knows what you can do and is critical of you because you're not living up to the standards they see you can attain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be, and that's your true friends. Like, if there's not someone that, if there's someone in your corner that's not doing that for you, that's not really your true friend. That's more of an acquaintance. Don't spend as much time with that person. You need people in your corner, in your circle, that if you spend time with them, that's productive. Or, it's not just dragging you down. It's not just keeping you stagnant. You need people that's going to lift you up, and you need people that is going to be critical, because at the end of the day, that's if you need that help, that's your driving force, is the people you spend time with, the people that you care about. That's who you're going to be taking their word for what it's worth,
Yeah.
So really having friends and family that hold you to that standard is where you're going to be, and force. I mean, it's kind of sucks to say, but you're kind of forced into, hey man, nut up or shut up. No one's telling you got to do it.
Yeah.
They're suggesting, be the true you, be happy, and do what you want to do in life, and succeed. That's all they want.
For sure. And it's the love of being willing to have that static, I think, too. Right. So, and what I like is you're still there and you haven't lost that. And I hope, I'm not going to say yet because I don't want you to lose it, but it's always the movie. And I'm like, oh, I hope we're not watching the part of the movie where all of a sudden the humble dude all of a sudden like gets the belts and the money. And you know what I mean? And he's like, who are you? I don't even know you, mom. Get out of my trailer. It's like, no, not Babyface. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. I know you'll never be like that. In fact, if I had to guess, I feel like you're the kind of guy that if it was trade who you are or trade the fame and fortune, you would gladly give up the fame and fortune to be who you are, because all you got is you, So, and that's who the people love. But it's the willingness to have the static. It's the loving you enough to go, hey, man, you might not like the fact I'm bringing this up, but I'm willing to bring this up because I know you. You know what I mean? And I'm accountable, and I'm your friend, and you can count on me to be there when times are tough and you need to be encouraged. So now I want to encourage you, and have your back by letting you know that you could be a little better over here. You could be a little better over there. That you just having a coach, seeking out a coach. Like I said, man, it's just amazing. So few power slap people have coaches, you know what I mean, that are dedicated to the sport.
And that's the one thing I want to say is, and I want to make that a point is, that's the reason I pay my coach. It's his job to tell me I'm doing bad. You know what I'm saying? Or I can do better. It's not just I'm setting my phone up and I'm doing reps. That's great. But is anyone criticizing your reps? Or is your homies telling you, hey, that looks good? there's a difference when I'm sitting there with my coach and I'm breaking it down frame by frame, like slow motion, looking at it slow each set, and then seeing what we can improve on each and every time we're out there.
And that's the key is, you know, that producing, but it's that relentless pursuit. You know what I mean? I'm going to go back and listen, and I'm going to hear something nobody else hears, but oh, your voice was a little tweaky, and I could have edged, rounded out the compression on your vocal to make it a little more palatable for all the listeners. And I don't stop that. Right now, I'm seeing a little light static in my screen, and it's driving me crazy, right? So, and I know nobody else is probably noticing or caring, but it's driving me crazy because I want to have the best show. I want to be the champ at this, right? As far as the quality we put out. And I think it's that thing where you're like, okay, man, yeah, man, I'm not swinging right. All of a sudden I'm dropping my shoulder a little bit, you know, or I'm leaning too deep into my hip or, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't know why. It's just something that kind of slipped, and your coach is going to be the guy that helps you, you know, see that. And speaking of coaching and athletics, you're also, for those that don't know, your management is lucky because they're going to be able to represent you in the whole other sport, a much more dangerous and violent sport than power slap. Kendama, the ancient sport of kendama, which is awesome, man. And we got to get some babyface kendama balls, man. We got to get some. Come on, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? That's got to get done. You know what I mean?
That's an untapped market right now for sure.
That's next on the list, brother. But anyway, you think I'm playing? Watch. Talk to me about your love about it, man. Tell the folks. To me, it's almost like golf in that it requires a lot of patience and a lot of accuracy for something that seems to be extremely simple, which, now that I say it, is also kind of like slap fighting. Yeah.
It's anything that someone takes that serious can be an art form, right? If you really break it down in that sense, if there's that many people that are passionate about it and people are taking it that serious to where devotion of life, you know,
yeah,
type of deal. And that's what it is. You know, it's just people that have passions for things make it cooler, and there's different styles of it, and people bouncing off ideas off each other. It's, you know, it's just for me, it was a lifestyle. When I picked kendama up, it just changed everything. It changed the way I thought about life, changed the way I approached things in life, and it changed, you know, my happiness in life. That's something that I truly sought out when I had dark times. I went to kendama because it was the one thing that I never, you know, it didn't get me down. It always brought the joy, and it was addicting to me. And I wanted to chase that ever growing progression. I got addicted to always getting better. And then it was like daily, you wanted to get better every day and do a new trick every day, get something crazier, you know, and then you're always filming. And then that's what started my whole Instagram was kendama, the passion to want to show your passion, you know. That was the only reason I started my page. So when I started, I was Pizza Dama Slayer.
Yes.
that's OG lore of Babyface right there. If you really are a fan, you know Pizza Dama Slayer.
So, speaking of that, did you work for a national pizza chain or like a local pizza restaurant?
I was always to, you know, more local, family-owned businesses.
Yeah, man, I got a niece that makes pizza. My wife made pizza for a very long time. I did it for a little while. I've worked in a few restaurants, but not specifically pizza. A couple, but like very briefly. So, because you guys got to go quick, and it's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's a nice job though. Like it really teaches you organization and speed, teamwork. It's good for building teamwork for sure. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, and you got to know what you're doing. So, whereas other restaurants, it can be a little easier because you're cooking something and you can put your little flavor on it or whatever. But with pizza, it's a certain way. And most of the time, the people want it that way. I know I order pizza from where I order it from because I like their pizza. You know what I mean? That's my favorite kind. I don't want them switching it up. I don't want a new kid
Yeah.
thinking I want more pepperonis on it. No, I want the amount of pepperonis that comes on it. Okay? So
Consistency key, especially with good pizza, you know, and you have your own. That's what's good about it is most pizza places, they have their own little bit of flavor. It's a little different everywhere. The oven might be a different setting. They might have a different brand of flour. It's crazy. And the like pizza in New York, they got different water.
water, yeah.
There,
Yeah.
you know, it's just there's so many different factors. It was different down south. It was really hot, so the dough blew up big time. It was really hot. You only had one day to use the dough, basically.
Do you I gotta ask, do you see yourself maybe owning a pizza restaurant or being a competitive professional kendama player in the future after Power Slap?
Oh, I don't chase the like chasing that kind of kendama level. Definitely requires full time right now to get on that. But I don't have the 8 hours a day to be playing. I did that. I'm past my prime. I play like I put the time in. I can still get jiggy with it. I enjoy. You know, I still progress on my own. I'm still chasing some tricks here and there. Still set the camera up once in a while, but it's nothing crazy. Like I definitely miss playing every day and having that passion, but I definitely transferred that kendama passion to slap now, and having power slap to have that kind of that drive to get that. I want to get better at something every day. That transferred over, and that's my new oomph, you know. So
And
I love
clearly,
it, and I couldn't be more happy that kendama fell in my life, how it did and when it did, to be able to be, you know, it's almost 10 years now that I've been playing. So
well, and the
I couldn't
community
be more
seems
thankful.
yeah, the community around it seems so cool. Like, you know, the people who play and support it, very very right up your alley, and that it's you know, it's kind of, you know, it's uh rebels, the outcasts, I like to call us rejects, you know what I mean? Not mainstream hip cool kids, but you know, maybe kids that are just into our own thing and you know, don't need to don't need public approval, but you have your own great community, and that's way more valuable and important, you know, than necessarily. But that's also weird because now you are big and famous and you have worldwide. So it's kind of weird. But I also understand the value of a community and that support. I think that's super important, man. And then, you know, I'm here, you know, I gotta do it. I gotta bring it up. You know, you didn't tell us, you don't talk about it much, but clearly you were a model. What do you have to say about that, sir? Clearly you've done some
Oh,
modeling.
oh, this is actually a really cool story about this place.
Babyface the model.
My little brother took this picture.
Really?
Mhm.
Very cool. Very cool.
Um, this is at Recovery Room in Charleston. They are a really long time representative of one of the number one seller of PBR cans in the world all the time. Like every year they win the award. And that's right under the freeway right there on King Street, at the end of King Street. Upper King is what they call it. Yeah.
Very nice.
That was a if you can't see all the sun on me right there, that was right after a day at the beach.
It doesn't look terrible at all. You're a white boy. It looks like a white boy from Michigan. That's what it is, man. So, and so far, I know I wanted to ask you, other than this last one, because that's the easy one. Other than the last one, what was your favorite Power Slap event? Like, which one did you have the
Mhm.
most fun? See, you've been all over the world now, so and you
Oh,
were in the house.
I haven't gone overseas yet.
No, yeah, no, but I mean, but yeah. Like, so, and then you were in the house. So,
I wasn't.
I mean,
I
you weren't
was
on the season, but didn't you hang
right.
out for the training and stuff that they just did? I thought
Yeah,
you
that
and
was
Brandon were there,
yeah,
and
that was just a training camp. Yeah, there was no.
What was that?
There was a hotel. We were hanging out at the hotel for sure.
Oh, my bad.
I
I
would
thought they put
say
you along in the house. My bad.
no, it was just a hotel.
Okay.
I would say my favorite event was Power Slap 12 because I didn't compete, and that was the first event I was able to attend. And I was holding the belt at the time, so it was really cool to be the champion and then mingle with all the fans and sign autographs, take pictures with everybody, talk about the event, get excited, hype the fans up, and then even have my own cool moments in it, like that face off with KO Chris. That was pretty
And
cool.
Trujillo. They were all coming
Yeah,
after
well,
you,
yeah,
dog.
they were coming at
You were
me and Robert are still trying to set that shit up, right?
Yeah, I was tripping. I was like, what did Anthony do? Like, what did Babyface do to piss it? Like, everybody were like, you. And it's like, dudes out of their weight class, dudes who didn't even power slap. The dude who was serving hot dogs outside ran in and got in your face. I was like, can't he just enjoy a match? He got the belt from taking the slaps. Let the man enjoy a match, man. No, I was tripping. And that was one of the things that made me realize how important you are to the slap and specifically your promotion, is that when all these other guys are just looking at you, that means that you are the benchmark. You're the guy that if they want the respect, they want to beat and cannot. John Jones, for a while. Right now, I'd say, oh gosh, Islam.
Alex Pereira.
Yeah. Yeah, except I just beat him. So, but yeah. But they're rematching. It just came out today. They're going to rematch, so that's good. So nice. Ankalaev and him. I got love for Ankalaev, man. That man went 7 years undefeated to get his shot finally. So it took a long time for him to get his shot because people were scared of him. So people didn't want to fight him. So yeah. So are you, as we wrap around the bend and close it out, because I know you got to get back to your family. I don't want to take all your daylight hours away, man. Are you planning on, can we expect to see you fighting in 15 or do we not know yet? Am I asking too much?
That one's got to be still up in the air just because it's there's not been too much movement. We obviously don't want to do the Manny right away.
Sure.
I don't think that happens. If it does, shoot, see you there for me versus Manny number 3. I'd be ecstatic. That'd be cool, but I don't know who it's going to be right now. Obviously, I made my call outs what they will be. Obviously, it's whoever the matchmaking decides.
Diaz, but I'm telling you,
Nate Diaz, come for you. That Stockton slap. That Stockton slap ain't got nothing on this Detroit chin, baby.
Hey, Nate Diaz. Don't be scared, homie. That would be a beautiful match to see. That would be, I think we all want to see that. And, yeah, I think that's the match everybody really wants to see. And I think it would be great for the sport as well. Also, man, doing so well. Clearly, you've lost weight. You've got focused. A lot of this stuff is going great. And you just had the balls to do it. Like you said, you were joking around and you just had the balls to do it. What would you encourage everybody listening, man? Because now you have a legit fan base and a lot of people, are excited to know you, excited to follow you. What do you want to leave everybody with? Positive, introspective, whatever the case may be. What do you want to leave everybody with on this holiday and going into life, knowing where you are now on the cusp of the greatness? You know what I mean? We're sitting on the sun as it rises right now, So tell us about that feeling, and then what do you want to leave everybody with where you're at right now?
Like I said at the beginning, it's definitely, riding this wave right now. It's definitely a lot to take in, still processing. But it's really cool, and I'm definitely going to be looking to stay humble through it all. This isn't the time to be getting complacent. This is the time to, lock it in even more. And, this is what I want to tell everybody is if you have something that you want to pursue, some goal, something that you want to get out of life or, your job or your hobby, whatever it may be, if you have something that you want to accomplish, you have to work hard for it. You have to be willing to do things that you don't want to do. There was times I rode my bike through the snow to my coach's house to get to training to win that belt. And I firmly believe that's why I won that belt, because it was like some Rocky shit. 5 miles there, 5 miles back after working out. You know what I'm saying? It was no joke. I wanted it.
In Michigan
I
winter.
wanted it.
Yeah.
I wanted it more. I wanted it more. So you really just have to dig deep, grind it out, go for it, and make it happen. It will happen if you put the effort in. That's what Kendama taught me. This is what Power Slap is teaching me now. And I'm going to apply it to life and try to kill this life as hard as I can, because I know, if I put my mind to anything, it's been done. I've done it in so many things in my life. There's so many examples that I could tell you that, like I said in Power Slap, when I signed up, I've been good at mostly everything I've done in my life that I've taken any kind of interest in. Now it's time to take interest in my life and really upgrade that and become somebody that I can really be proud of, and someone in my family, they can look up to me, and people will show me off because I inspired generations, or people younger than me. That's all I'm worried about, is that people younger than me that's going to be take care of me when I'm older. You got to be able to be, they got to be able to be doing it too. So, and I want to help. I just want to be able to help and be more comfortable and secure in life so that I'm able to do that.
That's beautiful. And I want to tell you the one thing I've seen in life, being a little bit older, being around the bend a little bit, is that success and money only makes you more of what you are. It just makes you a bigger monster, right? So if you are a kind person, if you genuinely in your heart want people to have better lives, and you want to do better for your community, and you're lucky enough for your community to just happen to be worldwide because of what your profession is or whatever the case may be, then you're only going to be kind to everyone, and it's only going to be better. And I love that that is your goal and that is still your focus. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I, for one, am super excited about what you're going to do. I do want to ask, man, as you said, everything you've set your mind to, do you believe that you were born with something special? You know what I mean? Is your family something special? Do you believe it's something that maybe God gave you? Or do you believe, what do you think that is?
I would say there's definitely something in the blood, because there's definitely something in our Blackburn DNA. I definitely might have got a little something extra, but well, that remains to be seen. My nephew over here, I was just spending a lot of time with him today, and he's already in the pretty high percentile. And my brother has always been a little bit more ornery than I've been, so he might be a little bit meaner and more athletic. We'll see what happens.
What does your brother do, by the way? Sorry.
He cuts steel. He's a steel. He works on a saw.
That's awesome.
Just hard-nosed worker. It's hot in them plants. It builds character out here. In the wintertime, it's cold. Summertime, he's got to wear jeans and gloves and full gear in the sweatshop. So,
yeah, cutting steel. It's funny. As a young man, I'd have been like, I want to know more power slappers. And as an older man, I'm like, I need to know steel cutters. Can I get his number? Those guys come in real handy. You think it's a joke, dog, but look, I can always find a power slapper or MMA fighter to interview. A steel cutter to help me cut steel? That's a rare man. Okay,
I'm almost 100% positive his plant where he works is cut steel for Isaiah's work, in the space plate stuff. 100% he's done that.
That's badass, dude. Yeah, and what does your family think? Because clearly, man, you come from a very blue collar, working back. You know what I mean? And no offense when I say this, but you do not seem like you come from a lot of privilege. You know what I mean? Look, dog, I know you have money now, and you're still driving your Xterra by choice. Okay, that's not a rich
Pathfinder
kid.
boy.
Oh,
hey, I love this car.
The Finder,
I love this
baby.
car.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying it's not a great car, but I'm saying I know you came from a working class family, because I know kids, who like don't drive used cars. It's like, you're You're like, no, I'm never getting rid of my finder, dog. Never.
Yeah, it just comes from, having to coming through just
Yeah,
tough upbringing, I guess. It's just tough upbringing.
what
Wasn't
does your
wasn't
family think?
wasn't the worst, but they think, this has all been a crazy ride. Obviously they've been super supportive since the start, but it was don't do that at first. And I was like, you're not stopping me. I already signed up. What do you mean? I clicked submit. Like, we're in it to win it now. So at that point, they had to shift their focus to support, and it's been 100% ever since. It's been awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, and that's the thing, man. You are the fans. You know what I mean? Most of the fans are us, our working collar folks, our folks who are trying to get to that next level. You know what I mean? Having a good Christmas is a big deal. Going on a vacation is a big deal. We don't always get to afford that every year, So, we're the fans. We're the people that, love and support what you're doing. And you are us. You love, you know what I mean? You love your fans. You clearly support us. You're one of the best fan guys I've ever seen do the thing. I want to thank you so much. We've got Power Slap 14 coming up. You're going to be the coach. Do you know which color, red or blue? Or
I'm guessing blue color, blue corner.
All right. And do you know any of the guys you're going to be coaching yet?
Yeah, I know a few of them, but we can't be saying too much on here.
All right.
Because you never know what could happen. I don't want to say something and then they're shifting things around, and yeah, I'd rather just let it come out on.
It'll happen.
Whatever media it comes out on,
I had to ask. I had to ask, man. So, Anthony Babyface, sorry about that. Anthony Babyface Blackburn. Thank you so much. I can't believe I'm messing up your name. That's crazy.
It's a tongue twister a little bit.
Man, thank you so much for coming through, giving up some of your holiday time to talk with us. We genuinely appreciate it. Of course, super fan, I know, was super stoked. And I asked the questions he wanted me to ask, which was focused on who he wants to fight next, and talk to him a lot about his coaching, which we did. So, yes. And is there anything else I want to leave? Anything you want to say to anyone before we head it out?
Happy holiday weekend, y'all. Enjoy this time with your friends and family. Appreciate y'all stopping in for PTPOD. Thanks for having me on, Mike. Thanks.
Your favorite slap fighter's favorite slap fighter, ladies and gentlemen, unparalleled in effort, awesomeness, and championship caliber kick-assness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Babyface Blackburn. Thank you so much, my brother. We will see you tomorrow for that nooner show. We love you, and we are out.
Oh, boy.